Hey everybody, Eric here in the garden. Gorgeous day across our area in eastern North Carolina. We're in the 50s this morning, but as you can tell, lots of sunshine. We're expecting to be around 70 today. The point of this quick video is to do a follow-up on the fertilizer video. I covered when to fertilize, how to fertilize, what to use. Real good lengthy video. So if you missed that, this is one of the most important times to fertilize. That's when you've just done your spring pruning. The one thing I forgot to mention, I'm going to talk about, and then I'll give a little bit of a garden tour on how things are looking. Usually when you do fertilization, granular, whether it's organic like alfalfa meal or cottonseed meal that we talked about, or maybe you're doing that 18-6-12 we put down, the slow release stuff. Usually what you want to do is after you apply it, you want to scratch it in, incorporate it into the top couple inches of soil, and then water it in nicely. One step I skipped in the video, I just forgot about. I am not scratching this fertilizer in, and the reason for that is if you watched our videos about a month ago, back in February, we put down a pre-emergent. With a pre-emergent, you really don't want to walk on the soil. You really don't want to scratch the fertilizer in or disturb the soil at all. So because of that, I did not scratch the fertilizer in. Ideally, I would have applied this fertilizer before soaking rain. Unfortunately, we had one of those a couple days ago and the timing just didn't line up. So if you don't want to disturb your pre-emergent, which is certainly a good thing, why put something down if you're just going to mess it up? To get around the scratching rule or scratching in rule, I would do a heavy watering if you're not anticipating rain, and that's what we did this morning. So yes, you can still see the alfalfa pellets. Those are not going to be incorporated in for at least a couple weeks, but you can't really see the granular fertilizer I put down, certainly not the cottonseed meal or any of that. So just a quick follow-up, if you're going to put down a fertilizer, a dry granular, again, whether it's organic or something synthetic, you want to incorporate that into the soil. If you don't do a pre-emergent, the best thing to do would just be simply scratch it in with like a light rake and just incorporate it into the top couple inches of the soil itself. If you did put down a pre-emergent, just water it in or do it before a good soaking rain. So we're just kind of walking around the garden showing you how things look after the pruning and after the fertilization. My step today is to do a little bit of spraying in the garden. We still have some black spot issues. You can see a lot of the new growth looks really, really nice. But if you look a little more carefully at some of them, there's still some spores in the garden. You can see a little black spot on that leaf. So I just want to kind of keep things clean. You can see a little bit of black spot there as well. So I'm going to do some spraying, contact and systemic. We can certainly do a video on that. The other thing I'm going to do, notice there's just not a lot of weeds in the garden. They are starting to pop up a little bit. Not as much because we did the pre-emergent, but I'll hit those a little bit with the glyphosate or Roundup, since it's not a windy day and I'm well in between the bushes themselves. Again, if you stay on top of your weeds now, you'll have less problems down the road. You may ask, why am I not just hand pulling them? I usually do that, but that gets back to the whole trying not to disturb this bed by either walking on it or pulling the weeds up and disturbing it. That would not allow the pre-emergent to work as well. So I'll leave you with a tour of our two most established beds. This is looking good on the right. We've got Let Freedom Ring. This one there is actually a mutation of it, a sport called Zach Noble's. We've got Jewel Grace there, a firm in the background, kind of an older rose in terms of exhibition. Crystalline there, Marlin's Day, sport of Moonstone. Got a nice crescendo there. These are some of my most established bushes going on 3 years. That is Hot Princess. This is Gemini. In the back there, we've got Randy Scott. With the really big canes, we've got Veterans Honor. We mentioned those are bigger than the width of a couple pencils. And then just planted this last summer, Sunny Sundays, another good exhibition rose from John Smith. So that's it across eastern North Carolina. I'll try to do a follow-up video down the road on the spraying we're doing today, but I just want to highlight an important step I skipped, not incorporating the fertilizer into the soil. Again, if you can't scratch it in because you've done pre-emergent just watered in or apply before a forecasted soaking rain. Have a great day, everybody.